Story 1, Motivation. The ability to self-motivate and have the capacity to stick to long-term goals and plans. Attention deficit/hyperactivity disorder is a curse when you want to move forward in life. Story 2. I'm bi-curious, but I was a virgin until 24 when I met my current girlfriend and future wife. In my whole life, I'll never experiment with men sexually. Story 3. Another partner. My wife was my only relationship and it was a great 20 years, but she passed. I didn't have any dating experience before her, and she was a setup. Story 4. But seriously, something that will record my dreams for me while I sleep so I can play them back and rewatch them when I'm awake. I have always wanted this, even when I was a little girl. Story 5. To be free of migraines, but unfortunately, I'm doomed to live a life of, we don't know why you get them, so keep downing pain pills for the rest of your life. Story 6. I wanted a career in music. I think I'm decent. I just did not put the work in like some of my friends during my middle school and high school years. One of them spent every day after school learning how to write songs, use recording equipment, and learn every band instrument to a proficient level. Went to a music school, now he engineers for very big artists. Even had a band that opened up for Third Eye Blind. I'm really proud of the guy. He put the work and time into his craft, and he made his dream into a reality. It's a very hard industry to get success in. Story 7. To be an astronaut. Ever since I was little, it is all I ever wanted to do. I did not have money growing up, so I tried to join the Air Force to be a pilot. But I am extremely colorblind, so that was a non-starter. In the 90s, it started to look like commercial space travel might be a thing, but that has kind of gone nowhere. I do not expect I will ever get out of this gravity well. Story 8. To dance or play an instrument, or do any repetitive action for an extended period of time without messing it up. Unfortunately, my lack of rhythm is a symptom of my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. When my medications are in proper balance, I can maintain and find the beat of a song. But even then, it's only briefly. It feels like that first moment you ride a bike without training wheels every time. It's miraculous. I feel whole because I can sing along with my favorite songs without starting too soon or too late. I don't even need to count. I just feel it. If I could feel that way naturally, I'd be complete. And before I get a chorus line of, "It takes practice," I'm in my 40s. I've taken lessons and I have my own instruments. I've lived through the era of video games when rhythm games were popular. I've jammed with buddies. I've put in some work. But until I got diagnosed professionally and medicated, it never worked. The first time I realized I could keep time on my meds was when I finally believed/understood my diagnosis. Story 9. A family of my own and a home that's mine. Chose to caregive for my folks in my 20s and 30s, and now that I'm getting older, it just feels too late. Wish I'd found a better balance and prioritized myself. I'm pushing 40, still taking care of my dad, and just stopped making plans for the future. Story 10. To be healthy. I have multiple autoimmune diseases that keep me from doing everything I grew up loving in life. Being a prisoner in your own body is miserable. Story 11. Getting pregnant and being a mom. I wanted a family so badly, but every man I dated when I was young enough didn't want kids or even a commitment. I did eventually meet my soulmate, and we are very happy, but we both wish we had met when we were younger. Story 12. Unconditional respect as a human being. Not having my worth questioned based on my income, my health condition, the quality of my relationships, my skills. Story 13. To have my daughter all her life. I was sexually assaulted in 2018 and I had a daughter in 2019. I gave her up for adoption because I was strung out when I found out I was pregnant with her, and I knew I couldn't parent her. Yes, I made a selfless decision, and I understand all of that, but I'm missing her childhood. We have an open adoption, so I get to see her once a year, but we don't get to live a life together like how it should be. Story 14. A lake house has always been my dream, to have a place to go for the weekend where all the family can gather. I am in my 60s now, and I do not see it happening for us. Story 15. Not to feel like I'm chosen because I'm the last choice. I now know that a portion of that is rejection sensitivity dysphoria. I was diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder late in life. If I had known, maybe I'd feel worthy. Story 16. A normal family. Parents who aren't toxic and abusive narcissists. Place to call home. I'm not homeless. I have an apartment, but nowhere on earth ever feels like home to me. Story 17. Having a best friend who is your second half, like in the movies, is something I often think about. I have many friends and I genuinely love them. However, I wonder what it would be like to have someone who understands you so well. I don't think I've ever experienced a relationship like that. Story 18. To love my body as it is. I lost 110 pounds and got down to the best shape of my life, running 3 to 5 miles per day, strong and lean, but the loose skin I had made me still feel flabby. I know it's supposed to be a badge of honor, but at the beach, it doesn't feel like it. I know that surgery is an option, but I can't fathom being immobile for weeks on end while healing. I can get to the point of appreciating the good parts of me, but never looking past the bad. Story 19. Marriage. I would have gotten married. I had a woman in my life who was my everything, and I was hers. But she had to make the journey to the other side way sooner than anybody would expect. It's just not in the cards for me at this point, you know? Story 20. A normal appetite. No matter how long I diet, the hunger never goes away. I get that you have to make lifestyle changes instead of the typical idea of dieting, but making those changes stick is so difficult when you feel like you are starving at all times. Pretty much the only thing you can really do to fix that is one of the stomach surgeries. There isn't another way to shrink the stomach back down. So eating a normal-sized meal will not do much to get rid of the hunger. You can eat high-volume, low-calorie foods to get that full feeling, but no one talks about how low in satiety they are. You are hungry again in like 15 minutes. The best way to sort of reset the hunger signals, for me personally, is long-term fasting. Doing a multi-day fast makes it to where the next meal fills me up pretty quickly. However, it only lasts for one meal, and then you have to fast again to get the effect back. Even then, you are constantly hungry because you haven't eaten in 3 days. Story 21. The Throne of England. It is the job I was meant for. I can do the royal wave like nobody's business. But alas, I was born into the wrong family, in the wrong country, on the wrong continent. Story 22. I have always wanted to have a pet tiger, but I know that it's just not practical or safe. I will have to settle for a really cool, exotic stuffed animal instead. Story 23. To be everything I've always wanted, and that everything is the things I cannot do because I only have one life. One life isn't enough for all of my dreams. Story 24. To experience the joy of standing in front of a crowd of people, regardless of the crowd size, singing along with you to a song that you have written, which means as much to you as it does to the people singing along, is truly a remarkable feeling. Story 25. A chance to be out on my own as a single adult. I met my wife when I was 19, and we've been together ever since. I'm 40 now and love her to death. At the same time, my independence was something I was always looking forward to as a kid, mostly because I grew up in a violent home. So, I never got a chance to have that experience. Story 26. To get together with my best friend as a couple. We've been friends for 4 years now, and I started developing feelings for her since last month. But I know it's never going to happen for all the legitimate reasons. It's just going to be one-sided love for me all along. Story 27. I grew up as the youngest. My sisters both had each other growing up as they are closer in age, but I was often alone. I always wished I had a sibling with whom I could have shared life, but my parents decided not to have a fourth child. I know it's silly, but I still imagine one day having a moment like in Sister, where I see someone that has my face. Story 28. To have a laundry chute in the house and ride down it like in the movies I saw as a kid. Now, as a 36-year-old, I don't think I would fit into one, and the houses my wife and I have been looking at don't have one either. Story 29. Acknowledgement from my mom. My parents divorced when I was 8, and I only have very few and scattered memories of my mom. After she left, she kept in touch with my other siblings, but not with me. Mind you, I was very angry about her leaving in the first place and didn't want to talk to her. But when I wanted to reach out and get that closure, she didn't even give me 5 minutes. The only time she wanted to see and talk to me was when she was dying of cancer. By that point, it was clear she really wasn't my mom anymore. She was only 43 at the time, but she was more like an elderly dementia patient. I've heard from my older sister that my mom did care about me and wanted to connect with me, but she sure never showed it. Everything I know about my mom will forever be secondhand or speculation. I will never know what my mom's aspirations for her life were. I will never know about her life. Nothing. And that's something I just live with. Story 30. One of those life-size Shadow the Hedgehog plushies you can win at fairs and carnivals twice now. I have been close to getting one secondhand, and both times it fell through. I am going to keep looking though, maybe one day I will finally get lucky. Story 31. A 1968 Mustang Shelby GT 500. I always preferred the front end of the 1968 over the 1967. Awesome car, but I don't have the cash or facility to keep one. Story 32. The feeling of being respected. I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and because of that, everybody treats me like a child. Friends, family, everyone. I just want people to treat me like I'm a man instead of talking to me like a 10-year-old. But I guess that's just a fantasy, given what I've been given in life. Story 33. Kids, between my lifestyle and my family health history, I know it's something that would be better off not happening. I couldn't stand raising a child the same way. I was not particularly just the emotional side of my parents, but working the exact career they did and not being able to devote the time and effort a human deserves. I also fear falling back on unhealthy generational habits. I don't ever want to make a child feel responsible for my happiness or well-being. I know this will get lost in the Reddit thread, but it was nice to admit to myself finally, fully. Story 34. I wanted to travel the world while I was young. I never had an exceptional job or made an exceptional amount of money while I was young. It is a hard pill to swallow, knowing that I can't get that time back and I'll never have those experiences.